In a broken wasteland, come to my fire.
What's going on, metalheads? Thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode of the Metal Forge. My name is Mark Jackson. I am your host, and today, this one's been a minute coming up here because we've talked on Instagram for a little bit now, it seems like. And finally, now something new is coming out. Obviously, let me introduce Graham McGee.
Yeah, Graham McGee, thank you.
Okay, from the band Syrinx. And obviously, he may look familiar to you because he's been in a band before that has been on the Metal Forge, but not in an interview with Spell from back in the day. Super rad times. Glad to have you finally to talk about this new music that's coming out and just whatever else happens, you know?
Yeah. Stoked, very stoked. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure. So before we get into, you know, all the shop talk and like the album promotion chain and whatnot, dude, I am totally digging the background.
Thank you. Yeah.
Like,
I live out here in like the mountains. I live in a real small town up in the mountains of BC, and live in like a really old house from the 1950s. So we got like wallpaper and shag carpet and pink blinds up. Still, it's a kind of an eclectic home. Yeah, it's nice, comforting.
That's amazing. Like, I love like time capsule homes like that. That's totally. one of my pleasures of like going, you know, we all go through the deal where we like we do the scrolls and shit on like Instagram and Facebook and whatnot, where we're just like, and some of those videos that come up where like, check, look at this 1950s time capsule beauty with pink tile, and you know,
it was literally that we bought it off some old lady who had been holding on to it and hadn't changed a thing forever. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
But no, like, so seeing the records behind you in the nice shelves, and there, it looks like you've got like a bunch of like box sets up at the front, and then you've got the actual collection going on.
This is this is only even one little side.
right, because so you're an avid collector then.
Yeah, I've definitely gotten my rabidness under control. It used to be very savage indeed. I've even gotten onto CDs big time recently because I got so many records and I started diving into CDs. I love collecting music and physical copies. I'm not too much of I don't really stream too much at all. Like, I always have the record player going or CDs in my car. I literally have 4 booklets of CDs just stacked in there and stuff, and it's
you got the booklets going on, man. Dude, so like at home, I totally listen to all physical media for the most part. Very rare, and the only way I stream something is if it's something that is not in a form of physical media, like new band stuff that I have. For example, hearing the new album from Syrinx, and like just hearing that, because I don't have a physical copy of it yet, just so, or my band stuff like, hey, Jason's working on a new mix kind of thing, so I'll do the thing, I'll use the dongle and I'll plug in the phone to the actual fucking analog stereo system and everything, and get it to its maximum ability, you know, its maximum range of what I can actually do with it. But yeah, so that's totally a thing. So do you collect? How do you collect is what I'm saying. Are you like, holy shit, this is a Chuck Mangione album that, you know, it's cool shit because it's
so
Chuck
like
Mangione? Or are you actually looking at like, okay, like whatever, you know, it's all metal or whatever?
No. Like, so even back here, like I have it arranged by genres. So each section, I have it like a few hundred to 1,000 of each genre and subgenre.
Ooh.
And I went so crazy on buying records. I used to like go on tour. And one tour, we bought so many records that coming back, we had to start tying gear to the roof because we had no more room in the van because I had so many records in the van. The next thing you know, we're like tying gear to the roof of the van and stuff. And I was like, and like for me, like I love buying stuff just based on like my intuition and how I feel with what connects with the art. So like I've bought so much music and gotten into so much stuff purely based on what the album looks and how it resonates to me. And sometimes like the more expensive stuff just tickles me to want to take a chance even more. And sometimes I've dropped $100 on some random record, but something says just buy this thing, and I get home and I love it 99% of the time. So I'm still always on the hunt. The other day I bought like some really private press country record from Swift Current, which is a small prairie town in Canada, and I would never even listen to country music, and then here I am getting into private press country Canadian records and stuff like that, and hunting that down.
But that's the thing, there's a guy who's also coming up on the Metal Forge here soon. I know you limit a lot of your online persona and everything, because that's one of the things we had talked about previous. You're like, I don't get on that much. I'm just basically here for the business end of things, and that's it. But so like Laid Back Country Picker, if you've ever heard of this guy, complete persona, does the gig and is just like completely badass. Got a nice mix of like 50s rockabilly mixed in with like acid country type stuff, and a little bit, huge Motorhead influence also. Right. And but yeah, somebody who would not be on my radar typically because of what he does, but just all of a sudden seeing it and just being like intuition strikes, and you're just like, holy shit, this is really fucking good.
Yeah, definitely. I can dig that.
And, it kind of relates back to a conversation I recently had with a friend about guilty pleasure. And it was one of those things like Gabe from Unto Others said this to me. And yeah, great dude, total great dude. But we were talking about guilty pleasures in music. And he kind of was just like, good music is good music. If it's something that makes you feel good and it makes you like, if it doesn't have to be something to be ashamed of, because people are allowed to like what they like.
Definitely.
And so yeah, finding private press country music from fucking small town Canada, dude, that sounds rad as shit to me. That's like going back and like getting into Stampede Wrestling.
Dude, it was called Whiskey Ridge, and I look over on the back and there's these three like kids that look like they were 19 to 21 that just looked so badass, these country boys, and I was like, I just have to see what this sounds like. Like $30, let's go. Like, let's take it home. Let's take it home.
And that's the thing, because that $30, whether or not, like you said, it's private press, so it's like limited press at that. So that $30 price tag is really on point to where they just break even usually.
Yeah.
So, and I totally have taken chances on stuff like that. I like going and finding the stuff that like people just return.
Yeah,
like
totally.
Like the used new arrivals in places. Oh man, I have found so many good things just from that. Not even just digging through bins, just
that's a good idea to scope that. Nice. Yeah, I never even thought of
that. What was your hidden gem? What's your most recent hidden gem that you've done?
The most recent hidden gem. Well, that's even hard to think about right now.
Okay, so caveat here, because we're talking about music, not necessarily just vinyl. Caveat, CD, anything physical media. What's the hidden gem that you've recently found that you're just like, holy shit, this is awesome?
You caught me off guard with that, because I'm trying to think. I've been listening to a lot of like I've had a few buddies who put music out recently and stuff. So like that's almost some hidden gems in new music. Like that Ancients record that just came out. They're buddies of mine and stuff, and they kind of were on a bit of a hiatus for a while too. and me and Kenny from Agents chat, and he encouraged me as well to get my stuff together going. And his new record just blew me out of the water. I've been playing it so often, and it's just so good, so good. And that's been in my record. And then also this Bobby Shock bass player that we just kind of connected with. He's got his whole own project on the East Coast that I had never really gotten into. Bobby Shock and his band Guesstimate, and that stuff's been blowing me out of the water, and I'd never heard it before. And it really lit the fire with all this new music again that I'm hearing that I hadn't been digging into a lot of new bands for a little bit there. And then even recently, I haven't been record hunting as much. So it's like, yeah, I've been buying some CDs. I'm trying to think, like, it's funny enough, like the actually most rare recent thing I bought was a rap CD. See, it's not metal or anything. Like,
Dude,
this guy
that's
named,
awesome.
so Tommy Wright the Third from like, he's down from Tennessee. He kind of started trap music, and I found one of his original CDs from like back in the day that he was giving out of from his backpack, and
That's killer.
like he didn't even have it. So he's like, "What the fuck? Like, how'd you get this thing?" And I was like, I just randomly kind of came across it, and I was like, I knew what it was. I'm like, I need this. So that was, I literally collect a bit like everything. And recently, it's been a lot of classical stuff too. I've been hunting down classical music, interestingly enough. So yeah.
You know what's so funny about what you just said with he doesn't even have a copy of it. Things like that are so fucking cool to me, being like a collector myself, and just whatever else, because it's like getting something, especially this way old school like that, something that he was selling out of his backpack or out of the trunk of his car, shit like that from like the 90s and 80s and shit. What I think's funny is like the way we're all so interconnected with social media now. You could totally reach out and say, dude, look what I found. And you're just like, but look what I found.
So get this. I did that, and he hadn't been back into music yet. He was big in the 90s. There's a movie called Hustle and Flow that was made about him, but
Sure.
He went to prison actually, and they still made the movie.
The movie. Yeah, I know the movie.
So that was about Tommy Wright the Third originally. He was supposed to be in it, and like all that's about his life, funny enough. And I hit him up on social media. He happened to be on there, and he's blown up now. And I was like, yo, I have your CD. He says, hey, man, like, you should help me put on a show. He ends up coming up to Vancouver, has a whole backpack full of dead stock cassette tapes and CDs from the 90s. And he shows up with this little backpack, nobody with him, by himself to Vancouver to do this show. And it was so funny. He had like no MC or anybody with him. And I got to introduce him on stage, and he's signing all these cassettes. So there's like a little surge of these cassettes in Vancouver that got put out that were in hiding for 30 years. So it's kind of fun how that happens. Yeah, exactly.
For me, a hidden gem that I found was there was a record store in town in Louisville here that moved locations, and they were where they went. They downsized greatly. Okay. It was around 2008. So the economy here in America, we were starting to that was like the first time we got like $4 a gallon gas.
Yeah.
It was like super fucking high. And so a Panera Bread bought or rented the location or leased the location where the record store was. So they had to move. And they had in storage new old stock Ace of Spades.
Oh, crazy. Yeah.
And like, so they had like 40 or 50 of them. It was like 2 or 3 boxes.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
They didn't realize that they had. And it was like, and what's crazy is like actually opening up a 1980 pressing of this. It was, 100%. And it's the track listings listed wrong.
That's so crazy. Yeah.
And it's just like, what? That's like almost finding like the green copy of Ride the Lightning,
Definitely, yes. Yeah, I got some bonsai presses of like Metallica and stuff. You almost inspired me now to like go. I need to like do an episode going through all my metal vinyl and just almost remembering all of it, because like I bought a lot of my metal vinyl like 5 to 10, 15 years ago, I was going hard and I got into some people's private collections and was just snagging stuff up and left, right, and center. And
Sure.
yeah, it's too funny.
Yeah, and well, and also that's also the same time period too, like being in spell that you all were really hitting the road like hardcore.
Yes. Well, yeah, and instead of going to bars, we went to record stores. Like we would literally go to every
Sure.
single record store everywhere. And like we all worked back at home, so we had a bit of money in that sense and to spend on records. I mean, sometimes I'd rack up credit cards and have to deal with the debt when I got back home. But yeah, we
Hey,
would find some really good stuff in really rare spots, like Tail Medusa record, and which is a local legend, which is kind of hard to get their OG stuff, and Halloween from Detroit and stuff like that. And
well, definitely.
yeah,
And what's so cool about a lot of that stuff is you get things that are like regional hits.
yeah, totally.
And regional hits versus like nationwide or worldwide hits are completely different.
That's where the
So
gems are. That's where the gems are.
exactly, it's like the album track type stuff. Like it might be a regional hit here, but
100%.
like what's really cool is like so Guardians of the Galaxy basically made a huge like a worldwide hit out of a regional hit from like the 70s. Lakeshore Drive, the song, right?
Okay, yeah, yeah.
And that was a regional hit around Chicago and St. Louis. And that was it. And then all of a sudden, like 40 years later, 50 years later, some shit, when that movie came out, like dude went fucking like platinum
Yeah,
overnight
crazy,
just
crazy.
because it was for something from like James Gunn's fucking like childhood that he remembered, and just like holy shit. It's so hidden gems like that are totally rad. But speaking of now not so well, soon to not be so hidden gems, we're going to be talking about new album coming out. So embrace the dark, seek the light, time out of place, as we're
So
going to
yeah,
say
Embrace the
here.
Dark, Seek the Light was the last album. That's kind of just our
Yeah.
tagline that we just use. So yeah,
And
with
dude,
everything.
that's a great one. And then, so the actual album title, Time Out of Place.
Yeah.
And I dig it. And so I went to the car wash earlier. And, as I'm doing the thing, I've got my headphones in and I'm listening through headphones and I'm just fucking completely just sitting here doing the thing. Like we all see the video of the dude where he's sitting in his car and he fucking his head banging over the steering wheel. And it's like, for one, it's not just a clever name, as Meatloaf said in Wayne's World. Syrinx really is a super fitting title
Yeah.
because I can seriously feel the spiritual succession of that era of Rush in what you play.
I
And
think that's a huge compliment.
I know it's a conscious effort because it is a band thing, because we all bleed influence at this point.
Yeah.
Whether it be you're influenced in classical music, tag back to what you said earlier about digging into some classical stuff. Norfolk Rhapsody is amazing. Listen to it. I love it. But then like, when you get in and you're doing the thing and writing the songs, and I think we all go through the same thing of saying, that's a really fucking kick-ass riff. I want, and then it's like you start toying around with the idea. It's like, or the way this to this piece of music just flows so well together. And then it's like you start playing your own version of it. And then,
Totally.
and there it goes. And that's the spark that fucking blows everything up. So when you're doing this, when you're sitting there, and it's been a minute since you've had something come out, what's the process of like
Well,
actually?
I'm definitely a riff guy, and I'm pretty lucky that like I live kind of out in the sticks as well too. So I literally have my full stack set up in the living room with my full stadium rig lined up with my Moog pedals out. Like I literally have my living room set up as if I'm on stage, and my wife is okay if I wake up at 5 in the morning and flick my Soldano on. And and I'm a morning person now, which is funny. So I quite often I'm up in the morning. I got a drum set here and my bass, and so I have essentially a whole studio here, and I just get up and fire and play stuff. And I live in the sticks, and my drummer's kind of in the sticks in the opposite direction these days. So we really didn't even, it came together very fast in this album, and everything just kind of clicked. And that's what inspired me to really get back into it. And then I'm the type of person, once the ball's going, I just put 110% in. I can't stop. It just keeps going and going. And so yeah, I get the riffs going, and I'm the type of way I write music's very different and outside the box. I'm not like a verse chorus guy. Solo needs to go here. I write a lot on intuition and feeling in that sense, and that's why having like a drummer as well to go jam with and bounce stuff off, where I can go there and we work really well together. Because actually, like I'm fairly classically trained in music and theory, and then finding a drummer who also could understand and speak on the same level made it very easy to write this music and stuff, and very natural, and everything flowed and really worked well together, and the communication was awesome. So, when the iron's hot, you just strike, you strike and go
Sure.
for it. Because
Yeah.
I think me and the drummer only even met like maybe a year and a half ago to the day from now, from when the
Mm.
albums come out. Like we worked pretty fast from starting from nothing, and getting it back together and getting a whole album and packaged together. And yeah, we're just super, super stoked to be at it again. And I think we got something really special here. And yeah.
Yeah. No, it totally is. And again, it's like I think the ultimate like compliment I think I could ever give another musician is um it's easy to get lost in the album. And I think that's such a compliment, because being able to get lost in something, everything else, that the mundane bullshit of life, American politics, fucking world hunger, fucking, war, famine, fucking all of that shit just gets muted. And
Definitely.
you get so in shout out. I'm gonna say a word, and because it's spelled different, by the way. But shout out to the band named this as well. You get so entranced uh that like when you lose yourself in something, that it's so profound and powerful. And I did that earlier at the car wash when I was sitting there listening to this for the second time through, and just like completely like, what? Fucking and run it back. If it's like, have I been here this long? And go back a song or two. It's like you just completely get in the zone. And
Totally.
thank you
Well,
for
I
like
only
putting
even
that
got to
kind of
listen.
music out.
Well, the funny thing, how you kind of said how you listen to your mixes on the dongle and stuff like that as you go. Like, I'm kind of a madman that, like, I literally just got physical copies of the CD the other day. And that was the first time I listened to my own stuff, is when I got that physical copy in
Oh
that
wow.
CD as just like a treat, and kind of almost, I don't know, I punished myself in that way. And then it was just like, and I knew I have a killer sound system in my car. So I just literally, the day the CDs came in, go running out to the car, windows down, crank it up,
At
just
least
go for a drive.
so you've still got a car with a CD player at least.
Well, it's mandatory. We have 3 cars with 3 CD players because they all need CD players. You gotta have CDs.
I get
Because
it.
like I said, I literally carry around like 400 CDs with me, and I'm an album guy. I don't listen to individual songs. I put on an album. I
Boom.
listen to an album. I listen to it. I just have to. I'm an album guy.
That is the one good thing I will say about like sometimes leave. So like the band Ice Howl, when we practice, we all live 2 hours away from each other.
Yeah.
So I get a 2 hour drive there and a 2 hour drive back. So one of the cool things that I like to do is I do like to split it up that way, where I might throw on, say, a Haunt song,
Yes.
or a Kerrigan song, or a Pentagram song, or Black Sabbath, or who the fuck ever, and just set up the playlist to go complete obscure. And then it's like, whoa, who is this? And it's some fucking weird ass fucking band
Definitely.
that's finally
Definitely.
that has their shit on fucking Spotify for that came out in 1987, and it's like
Totally.
like the band Tyrant.
Yeah. Like, see, cool. You're right. Like, that's where you catch cool stuff like that as well. It's definitely
So
in the
like,
trailer.
but then on the other half of that, I totally do exactly what you are. I do the album thing because, for me, hidden gems on albums, I'll just say like, everybody like talks shit on the Black Album, right? So I'm going to go ahead and use it as the example. Struggle Within,
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
amazing
Yeah.
amazing album closer. That's
Definitely.
just like, what the hell? Or even going into something like, Wind Up from Jethro Tull.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Probably one of my
Totally.
favorite fucking songs ever. And it's an album track,
I can
you
agree.
know.
I'm the same way. I like the deep cuts. I like the deep cuts. I'm a deep cut guy.
Yeah, absolutely. So uh pinpointing here, what do you think on the new album is a deep cut?
Which one from our album's a deep cut?
Yes.
Well, they're all deep cuts because they're all kind of like each
They're all kind
song's
of
a little.
new.
That's what I mean. They're new when they're all like individual and like we don't write in a style either. We got like heavy metal and we got prog and like
Mm-hmm.
kind of switch it up. I take the synths in and out and stuff, but yeah, I don't know. Unraveler is pretty heavy. The Unraveler,
Okay.
that song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you just sparked something here. You just hit my fucking like my musical uh ridiculousness, I'll say, where you just sit there and said, I'll take the synths in and out. And I understand like you're talking like in a mix scenario where they're phasing like in and out. But when you're writing the song, before all of that, when you're just doing bare bones like guitar, bass, drums, whatever, vocals, before you put on anything, like do you sit there and say, hey, that's a pretty good song, let's see how much better we can make it? Or you know it's like, could these
I think it's more we surprise ourselves once we get to the end of a song and then we're like,
sure.
shit, that like, because like we have like some like 7-8 minute songs and stuff, and they're not like exactly easy to play when you're playing bass synth pedals at the same time and stuff. So, and then the way they come together sometimes, like I said, very quickly and just like in one jam or 2 jams, you got a 7-8 minute song. We're kind of just like, whoa, because a lot of the times I showed up with just the ideas in my head. I don't pre-record a lot of stuff. I don't write anything down. I'm a very spontaneous and just out of my head. So like,
No, I don't write nothing down.
yeah, well, yeah, because literally we don't have
No,
we don't have
it's like
any notes of any sort.
there's a
So
mafia movie. There's a mafia movie where he's like, no, I don't write nothing down. it
yeah, I
might
like
it
that.
might have been in The
Yeah,
Sopranos because I asked him to write down his
yeah.
feelings.
We want
He's
no
like, no, I
trace
don't
of
write nothing
anything. No
down.
trace. Don't leave a trace. Yeah.
Absolutely. No paper trail, right?
Yeah.
It's why we like as musicians, it's why we like cash, because it goes
Yeah.
right in the pocket and you don't have to file taxes on it.
Yeah. Yeah. There. Wink, wink.
No, I'm the same way with that. I don't write anything down. I loosely do, like, pull the guitar off the wall here, and I try not to do that while I'm on the show. But like as I'm sitting there, fucking I'll come up and riff something and be like, yeah, it's a pretty cool idea. And then I'll get to the band and be like, and I've like 2 hour drive.
Yeah. Well, I'm
And
the
I thought
the
about
same
it the
drive.
2 hours, and I'm literally playing it against the steering wheel as I'm driving, like dun 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 dun, and just like,
Totally.
and by the time I get there, it's like, hey, I got this really cool idea. Hang on, let's play. Let me play through this really fast.
I can relate. Well, it's tough because like I'd have to drive an hour and a half to 2 hours to jam with our drummer, our singers in Denver, our bass players in New Jersey, right? So we're not exactly close. So like most of it was done me at the drummer's house together. And then so it was always interesting hearing what we wanted for bass or whatever. We didn't have the opportunity to play with a bass player or to have the singer with us. We wrote most of this stuff beginning drums and guitar together.
Sure.
And then that's where it kind of sparked from. And then that was the real main core, was me and the drummer together, because he gets my odd time signatures. I love playing odd time signatures that don't sound odd. So it's hard to find a drummer that could play what I wanted to play. And funny enough, like I met him in the most odd of places and stuff through like he was the husband of one of my clients. And when one of my clients said, I do massage therapy and I fix people during the day, I fix people's bodies. And she was kind of like, oh.
And hang on, I want to interrupt here really fast. And at night, he's a musician and he will fix your mind.
There you go. Exactly.
Bam.
So when the client says their husband drums, I was kind of like, yeah, he drums. Okay. He sits in his bedroom and drums or whatever. And then one day I was over at their house working and they happened to have a studio in their house. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I go and see his drum set and he's like, oh, I have a degree in school from drumming. And do I love Rush, and has a custom Yamaha kit and stuff. And I was like, oh, well, I think I can work with this. And his name's Seth Lyon. And all of a sudden it was like off to the races. And then at first he was a little bit not fully knowing if he wanted to commit, because he lit my fire. And all of a sudden I'm like, okay, let's go full on band mode. He's a little bit older than me. And he was like, I don't know if I want to be full on band. But then he caught the bug and like we literally having a great time.
And honestly, that is probably one of the most magical moments that I think any musician, we all have that moment. And it's amazing to have, it's like playing the game of remember when, one of the bands I was in when I was probably 19 years old, me being a bass player and the guitarist singer, we had just lost a drummer and we needed to find a drummer. And we went bowling one night at Rock and Glow, if you're familiar with what neon lights bowling. Yeah. And it was in the time frame, it was 2001, long time ago. And Marcy's Playground, Sex and Candy was playing on the fucking jukebox. And we were saying, like, myself and the guitar player were talking about, it's like, I wish they would play some Black Sabbath, and the two people in the lane next to us were just like, did you say Black Sabbath? And I met a drummer who's been a lifelong friend ever since. We played in bands together. We've been friends. We don't currently play together, but we bounce ideas off of one another still.
Nice.
And,
that's awesome.
And I think that's so, we went in, that's exactly what we did. We went into full band mode. It's like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm a fan of Black Sabbath. You're a fan of Black, it's like, who's not, man? And
totally.
And that was one of the things we bonded over. And with Ice House, same way. I had Jason Roach, who was basically a complete instrument, doing everything himself. I said, dude, you need to put this together as a band. And here we are a couple years later, actually doing the band.
Love that. It's always the best. It's always the best when it happens.
Oh, sure. So obviously, with members being kind of all over the place, you all have a music video out now too.
Yes, that was such a fun weekend. Yeah.
And yeah, so everybody's there. So obviously, you're doing a lot there. And that weekend, I'm sure you've probably got to get press photos done. You've got to do video shoots. You've got to
drive to the airport.
Yeah,
it ain't close. It's not close.
Yeah,
no,
exactly. So I'm assuming they came to you all.
Yeah, so we're lucky at this day and age that we work hard, so we're able to fly the boys in not often, but like we get together fairly, once every couple months type of thing now to get our shit together and make a decent weekend of it. And
sure.
That's kind of how we're planning to move forward, because we have a good home base at our drummer's house and a studio, and he's got places for us to stay. And flights aren't really that expensive in this day and age and stuff. So like and Bobby works on the East Coast, so he'll work and then get off work on a Friday and hop on a red-eye flight and then come out this way and be picked up at the airport and do our music thing and go back. So we're kind of like with this project, we're kind of doing like the fly-by-night thing where we're planning on like flying in and doing 4 or 5 night shows, doing festivals, maybe a week or two in Europe. We're thinking about doing 4 nights out on the East Coast where he's on the East Coast. So we have a bit of different bases around. So we're going to just always kind of shift around and kind of work that way. And we're tight musicians. So, everybody shows up knowing their parts and ready to go, and we're all stoked. And when we've had our first jam all together the first time in the first room when we shot that music video weekend, that was the other like green light. Like it was pretty magical. And then I brought my wife in on vocals, and she's so amazing at singing. So I never anticipated having a second vocalist, kind of like a Queensrÿche, King Diamond style. So we're going to keep her going, and we're looking at doing more theatrical, male, female, dual lead vocals, and working on our live show and a huge setup and props and stuff like that. So we're just having lots of fun. Lots of fun.
Right there. Amazing. Everybody watching right now needs to seriously stop this video, run it back about 35 seconds, 40 seconds, a minute, however long that was, watch it again. And then I want you to do it a third fucking time, because, okay, Lemmy said one thing that has completely stuck out with me since I heard it the first time, is any 5 dudes can get on stage and play music. It really takes it's like another worldly person to, people don't want to see the fucking dude at the end of the bar playing fucking music. They want to see a show. They want to see a fucking alien, They want to see something fucking crazy. They want to see Paradise by the fucking dashboard lights. Prime example, where it's fucking, it is a scene. It sets in motion, like you mentioned Fly By Night earlier. We fly by night, that's a fucking absolute, it is a thing. And like, even then, going back to like, say, that era video where they're playing into like, in like the castle, dude, that's amazing shit. And King Diamond, Ozzy, that the show means so fucking much with props. Everything does. Because you could get on stage and, if you're going to be in your fucking camo shorts and your fucking sleeveless shirt, a la Dime here, black tooth grin as I'm wearing it, if you're going to do that, you got to go the full fucking way of doing it. Dude, Dime, the reason they look They all looked fucking insane. Dime had a fucking goatee that was fucking multicolored and a big fucking bunch of fucking hair, and he played weird shaped fucking guitars.
Yeah.
Phil had head tattoos, you know.
Yeah.
Rex looked like a stoner. And then Vinny, look at his fucking beard, you know. He didn't fucking wear that because of a fucking fashion statement. He did it to fucking be noticed. Because he looked like fucking like pro wrestlers. Same fucking thing, you know.
Yeah.
Look at the Legion of Doom.
You gotta have fun and be able to make fun of yourself while having fun, right? You know what I mean? A little bit in that sense, you know what I mean? That's why I had to get that. At first, the band members were a little hesitant with the puppy shirts. I was like, dudes, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Like, trust me, it's gonna be lots of fun. Like, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And it's just about having a good time. And we really want to work. We're working hard at trying to get something together because we're in it because we just love making music and we love like prog metal. Like, we're huge Queensrÿche fans, King Diamond. We're gonna do our best to work our way up and just keep adding to our show as we're able to grow, hopefully, and keep working on
and
something.
Ultimately, and here's the thing: the ultimate kick in the whatever, the teeth, the ass, the whatever that most fucking independent musicians have to deal with. It's all based around money. It's all based around the fact of the matter of being able to afford to make something happen.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the part that hurts the most is like, yeah, I would like to do this, but I don't have the extra $3,000 to make it work.
Dude, 100%, dude, 100%. Like, we're looking at the same thing.
So, like, for example, this blew me the fuck away when I just like, I had like an eye-opening moment seeing a band live. And it was honestly, it was King Diamond with Idle Hands before the name change, and Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats. And I had a balcony seat it's called the Louisville Palace. Google it. It's awesome shit. It's a nice mid-size, probably 3,200 seat, 4,800 seat place. And I had a balcony seat, and it was that tour. And I was just looking at like the stage set up, and it honestly reminded me of the Speak of the Devil DVD.
Yeah,
where it's
totally.
basically a castle.
Yeah,
but all it is, it's like it's scaffolding.
Yeah, I saw that tour as well. Yeah,
it's scaffolding and staircases,
and some great costumes and drapery and stuff and candles
and just drapery.
Yeah,
like a lot of that stuff is backdrops, scrims that are just they're just tied off. And then I saw a couple years ago, I saw Merciful Fate with basically the same stage setup, only instead of the idea they had, like, it looked like a mausoleum. It looked like marble.
That's cool. And
then they had the backdrops behind them, same thing like what Maiden did for the longest time, where it's just like a fucking,
big tapestry,
scrim, like a tapestry, but it's 100 feet tall, because that's how long it is to get to the ceiling in a lot of those places. So, like, if you want something, if you want to do it, you're gonna find a way to do it, and 100%. That's really, it's the show, and metal, I think, and underground music, underground rock, whatever, new wave of traditional heavy metal, whatever you want to call it these days, like independent metal, I call it. Underground, low / no budget, no niche metal, stuff that's not going to be breaking the album charts on Billboard. the thing about it is like, I think we're on the cusp of a big change where we're going to be going into, instead of playing bars like the last 20 years, where a lot of those bars have closed. I think we're going
Yeah.
to go into other venues. We're going to go into more curated venues of maybe community centers, gymnasiums,
Yeah. Halls.
halls of some
Yeah.
type, Knights
Yeah.
of Columbus, whatever they are, where you're going to be able to put on an actual performance. And like even at a high school amphitheater or a high school theater would be
Totally.
more than sufficient.
100%. 100%.
And
Vancouver is starting to get some of those venues. We have a place called the Wise Hall that's like a Ukrainian hall that does gigs, and yeah, we there's quite a few hall stuff. That's definitely where it's going out this way, because yeah, most of the bars and clubs where I played at growing up when I was a bit younger are all condos in Vancouver now. Most of them are all
yeah,
gone, right? So,
oh,
you know.
absolutely. And not only that, but when you really break it down, DX, uh, when you really get down to brass tacks and look at the way things have went, oh, especially over the last 15 years with, respective economies and political shit that's been going on, that, a lot of businesses have closed, and a lot of the places that are still open today, either they've had to downsize or
Oh yeah.
they've changed decor, because I mean, most of these places don't have big fucking stages to begin with.
No, man. It's everything these days is happening out of love, which at the same time, some of that mainstream stuff crumbling, but there's so much real good stuff still coming out of the rubble, and people who are
Oh, sure.
philanthropists. And like, so I actually just found, like, I live in a small town, 45 minutes away is the next biggest town. And I just found, even through Instagram, funny enough, this, like, it's called the Chill House, and it's like an old antique house that's got turned into like a DIY venue out in the sticks here, which I never would have seen that happen. And it looks like they got a bumping metal venue going down there with tons of metal shows. I'm actually headed out tonight to see this band called Arrow and the Quiver that I've never seen, but I've heard of. So yeah,
Dude,
I'd
that's
love
an
to start
amazing
playing.
name.
Yeah, amazing name, and the venue has like really cool lights, and it's in the basement. It kind of reminds me of this place. There's a place in Ottawa called House of Targ, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
they got video games, and it's like underground place. So I like these smaller DIY
Yeah, we
places.
have
It's like,
a place like that here in Louisville. It's a pizza place, actually.
oh, nice, yeah, 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 the pizza place.
It's called Spinelli's. And if you're familiar with Belushi Speedball, they're kind of like Psycho Stick in a way,
Okay, yeah,
like a parody,
I can
like
see that.
we're laughing at life kind of shit,
Okay, yeah.
not necessarily at other bands like, hey, you take yourself too seriously, we're gonna make fun of you, but no, we're like, my favorite color is pizza,
I like that.
shit like that. But no, like, so what's wild about it is there's a sign on the thing. It says, do not mosh into the pizza warmer."
I like that.
And
It's a good
it
one.
it kind of went viral because like somebody snapped a picture of it, but it's at one of those DIY little venues that's not really a venue.
And yeah, yeah.
It's something that, like, the underground scene, like when hey, let's do an underground show here,
Well,
because it
that's
was
all.
downstairs in a basement
It's
also.
because somebody loves it, right? Because it's all like, that's what it's about. Music. Everybody who loves music and wants to support it, it's helping the community. When we played a place in Astoria, this guy loved music, so he brought us out and we played at his oyster bar. Like,
Ah,
like, you know what I mean? We're literally in like this nice oyster bar, and we're looking at the menu like, oh shit, we can't afford anything on this menu. And then he comes over, he's like, don't worry, you guys don't have to pay for the food. And we were like, okay, thank God,
thank
because
God.
this is
Yeah.
way out of our budget. Like, I'm surprised you let us in here or whatever
That's
and
amazing.
stuff. Yeah. But he just
Uh,
loves music. So that's what it's all about. People who love music are going to come through and create venues, I think, and will continue. Vancouver's got this place called Green Auto, and that's the most bumping venue right now. And that's a DIY venue just from some guy who loves music, who owns like this warehouse, turned it into a place that's not like sanctioned by the city in that sense. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's all ages, inclusive, and it's just all about having a good time,
Hell
rather
yeah.
than just selling drinks and some guy trying to make money off selling drinks. But he's there
Sure.
to have bands and music, right? It's not a business, right? So
It's there for the community.
for the community, yeah. And I think that's going to really be coming more to the forefront as other stuff kind of crumbles. Some people are going to fill in the gaps and stuff and want to share whatever wealth they have in that sense, you know what I mean? And to keep everything going.
Sure.
I
And
would. I would.
and yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. That's where everything builds and goes back. You know, again, it's almost as if like okay, so like the fall of the Roman Empire type. They say that the timeline of the fall of the Roman Empire, when we switched the calendar, we added 1,000 years to it when we were
Yeah, yeah.
really, instead of being like 1,000 or 1,200 years away from the fall of the Roman Empire, we're really about like 200 to 300
I could see
from,
that. I could see that. I could see
or
that. Yeah.
like it wasn't as in distant past as we thought it was. But where I mean with that is the scene change. Okay. When the scene resets itself, like take for example, when like what we look at as modern music starting in the 50s, you
Yeah.
know, equating another Lemmyism is like, I remember before rock and roll was a thing, we had Rosemary Clooney albums, and then we heard Elvis, and
Yeah.
then we went crazy. So like, you know, and then you got like that early 50s mentality, like with Les Paul and Buddy Holly and Elvis and Little Richard and Jerry Lee Lewis. And then you get into the 60s movement of stuff, and the scene resets itself when you've got bands like The Doors, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Aerosmith,
Yeah.
Judas Priest. And then mid 70s and then 80s and then 90s, it's all reset itself. So I think we're just on that change of, because look, in the 70s and in the 60s, they were playing in atypical venues, not necessarily bars. They
Yeah.
were playing in clubs and in night halls and shit like that. Like the Whiskey was a restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah. Coffee places and restaurants. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, because Joe DiMaggio and like the Rainbow. Joe DiMaggio met Marilyn Monroe at the Rainbow, and people play at the Rainbow and shit.
Yeah.
And so like I think it's more of like we're just on the change of the scene again, where we're gonna start playing in more atypical places.
Well, I think it's that too. And there's going to be even more combinations of bills, which I like seeing too, because like, I think it's a good time. Like it's almost like niches in. There's so many, and people are more accepting of other styles that it's not so much, I don't listen to you. That's not cool. Like more people get along. Like I'm listening to like 90s Genesis and Phil Collins and stuff, right? Didn't think that was cool
Sure.
before. You know what I mean? In that sense, where like I feel just society as a whole, just like is way more accepting of everything. So it's just even more opportunity to play with other bands, even kind of outside your genre, and just get in front of people, because it's all just about sharing music that you like and emotions, really. You know
Oh,
what I
for
mean?
sure. So before we switch over here to some general stuff about you, what is Syrinx doing for the rest of 2025? We're already in August, so the album's coming out officially in a couple of weeks. We still got pre-orders going on. Links are listed below. So like, are we doing shows? Are we doing a little mini tour? Are we scheduling for 26? What's up?
So yeah, we got a couple more music videos coming out with the album, and then we're gonna probably be doing a release show in Vancouver. We haven't nailed down that date yet, and then we might be doing something in Winnipeg later in the year as well. And then we're also booking more towards the end of 2025 and 2026. We kind of just been holding our cards real close until everything's ready, getting our performance together, the album together, the merchandise together, full package ready to go. We didn't want to throw the cart in front of the horse type of thing and stuff. So now we're in full mode and all ready to go. So especially 2026 is probably when you're going to see us the most, and we're really looking forward to hitting some festivals and playing some shows in the States and in Europe and beyond, really.
We need to give a shout out to Christian Larson and get you all to Hell's
Yes.
Heroes.
Yes, that would be
you
fun.
all,
We would definitely play Hell's Heroes. We would love to.
of course. I mean, I would love to play Hell's Heroes, but
yeah.
But no, I think I seriously think you all would fit in extremely well with there, with like the idea of like, and how many different genre, subgenre of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
It's really an awesome festival where Warlock and Doro playing Warlock covers, doing Warlock
Original
set,
stuff,
playing with Hyrax, playing with Pentagram, and playing with Haunt and Savage Master.
Yeah, see, I love bills like that. Those I love Trevor. I love
they're
Savage
totally
Master.
great.
Yeah, those guys are all. I love to play. Like I got to play with those guys a bunch back in Spell and stuff. So like we're looking forward to playing with all those bands again and getting back into the thick of it and having a good time. So say the word and we'll fly there to play.
Exactly. And hopefully it's backlined.
Yeah.
Backline makes a big difference for the flying musicians.
It does. That is almost one of the things that we are currently even planning and working on with just the gear, because we have dual move Taurus pedals. I play bass synth pedals, and so does the bass player Bobby. Keyboards, we got a lot of stuff, and I play a wet guitar rig that was designed after Steve Lukather from Toto. So I have 3 guitar cabinets that are running in stereo, and I have a whole rack gear. So it's figuring out what can go where and what's a local rig, what's a road rig, what's a fly-in rig, and kind of getting all those stuff organized. What's each stage
and what's
thing.
What's so crazy is like there's that weird thing we talk about the show earlier, and like that's definitely part of the show. I get it, the gear, but like as I've gotten older and I've kind of like downsized to and adapted to like the Kempers and the playing through powered PA speakers and behind scrims, it's like, man, I'm glad I don't have to take that fucking refrigerator bass cabinet out anymore.
When we shot the music video and I had to move all my gear, I had some of those thoughts, man. I'm not as young as I used to be dragging this shit around. Right. Where's the roadies?
Roadie? What the fuck is a roadie? I've always been my own roadie.
That's what I got the dogs, teach them how to haul gear around. They like to help.
So that's awesome though, man. I mean, pets are cool because they're extensions of our own personality, I think. So
yeah,
they could always help out.
Like even like my producer was a little like surprised and stuff that he's not used to having guitar players and people still like play in the room with the huge stack blaring. He had it all set up for me to sit in the control room with him in headphones, and I was standing in there, and he's like, "Oh, okay," and I was like, "Oh, I didn't even think of that." Like that's why like I'm very old school in the way I kind of record and the way we do things. It's all like full takes. We don't really do much editing or anything. Sure. And like even on a 7-minute song and stuff, it's like played all the way through and and kind of catch stuff that way. And we like catching a lot of sounds on microphones and even plugging in your guitar. Sometimes you catch there's a lot of sounds actually on this album that were accidents, but you keep them in it and lends to that organic sound. And
very much, because one of the cool, like I'm a junkie when it comes to studio documentaries. Okay. So like I love Eagle Vision or Eagle Rock Entertainment's classic album series from like
Nice.
the
Yeah.
early 2000s.
I
Where
grew
they,
up on those. Yeah.
yeah, me too. Where it's like Bat Out of Hell, 2112 and Moving Pictures, The Doors, LA Woman, Paranoid, British Steel, Asia, fucking Disraeli Gears, a night at the Opera and A Day at the Races. They did both of them as
that
one
was a
of
great
them.
Queen album. That's one of my favorites, probably.
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
I'm in love with my car. That's so fucking heavy. So
Dude,
heavy.
Nobody's gonna love I'm in love with my car.
Yeah.
No, but like I love that stuff, and being able to, as you said, the warts and all the mistakes, the way a certain thing sounds. Like, I'm a huge Motorhead fan. As you could tell, I've already, mentioned Lemmy a couple of times. But like, We're the Road Crew, perfect example of what you're talking about. Fast Eddie Clarke falls down in the studio. He fell over backwards playing the guitar solo at the end of that song. They left it in there because there is a point in time where he's just feeding back. It is just feedback where he's trying to get up.
Yeah.
And they're helping him up. And then it's just like this, like, it's like 12 or 14 seconds of fucking just feedback.
Love it.
And they left it there. And it's just like, cool, And then, you get like the weird shit, like in Metal Gods, where they're slamming fucking silverware trays on the floor of Ringo's house because that's where they recorded it at.
Yes, love it. Exactly.
And it's just like the weird shit that people put in things just to, that's either, again, like, what is it? They're in Master of Puppets. One of the strings gets caught under a fret.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those weird happenstance things where it just lends to a sound.
Definitely.
It can't physically be recreated.
But it fits the album. Yeah.
But it makes it. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And stuff 100%. Like that's cool.
Vigilantes gather on the lonely torchlit hill. Features distorted in the flickering light. Faces are twisted and grotesque. Silence instead in the sweltering night. The mob moves like demons possessed. Quiet conscience calm in their right. Confident their ways are best. Rise with burning there are strangers who threaten us, are immigrants and infidels. They say there is strangeness too dangerous in our theaters and bookstore shelves. Those who know what's best for us must try to save us from ourselves. Quick to judge, quick to anger, slow to understand. Ignorance and prejudice, and fear walk hand in hand.
So, some stuff about you as a person. Derailed. If you could trade jobs with someone you know, who would it be? You know,
That's
what
impossible
would
because I love my job so much and what I do. Like I'm in the literally perfect spot. I'm self-employed. I work for myself. I am my own
sure.
boss. So there's nobody. I don't even consider. I don't think I even work is the problem. So I wouldn't want to trade with anybody because I don't want to work. I don't feel what I do is work. Uh, it's that's what happens when you love what you do so much. Actually, I guess in that sense, it's if I was getting paid to, it's good, almost as good as if I was getting paid to play music. You know, that's the only other job. If I could switch into somebody who was like a real session player, I would love to get paid to play guitar all day and write music and compose and arrange music. So I'd love to trade jobs with a composer or an arranger in that sense, or a full-time musician.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And in all actuality, though, like, I don't know, would it kind of take away its mysticism to be a full
Probably.
to be what is considered, listen, like what is considered a full-time musician? Now, like that's a very broad ranged thing, like because
Yeah,
you've got rock bands and metal bands that are full-time, like take like a Metallica, for example. Would you want
definitely.
that type of full-time musician?
Well,
Or like maybe someone like he's passed away now, but Michael
I
Kamen
I'm more on the
or John
George Lynch.
Williams.
I want the George. I like the George Lynch level.
Okay, so mid-size halls,
Yeah,
maybe
I'll
doing
still go
some
if you want me to come and play your backyard party. I'll bring my band to your backyard party and we'll rock your backyard party. You know, like
dude,
let's have a good
Metallica did that
time.
one time.
Yeah, he used to do that all the time. He would do parties, private parties, quite often. So you know what I mean? Like that's the type of I'm a pretty down to earth in that sense. I don't want to be shuffled around, and I don't want money. I just would love to have food, bills paid in that sense to be able to create more. Because that's like you said, the biggest hardest part for a lot of people is like we got to put so many hours in somewhere else to put the hours in on the music. So it's
Sure.
like always having to hustle so hard and extra to do this, and it's always that's what we're doing now. And then what else? How can I hustle? Because there's certain stage and things we want to build and do, and it's always trying to hustle. What can we do to hustle to play more music in that sense? So it's the plight of the musician.
Sure. No, and I totally agree with that. And like I said, it's like the different echelon of thing, like being in a band, like a popular band aspect, or playing in like maybe like a local orchestra,
Or
full-time musician too,
teaching, teaching's full time.
teaching, yeah,
Doing
teaching
like, well, even
musicians.
like doing wedding gigs, man. Wedding gigs is great too.
Sure.
100%.
Yeah, because
Right?
you get free
Playing
catering at most
classical
of those.
guitar and stuff. Oh yeah, man. Like that stuff pays well. You do the like you got to think smart sometimes, right? Like wedding gigs and corporate stuff, you get paid the big bucks for short amount of times.
Oh,
That's
sure.
I'm back on my classical for that reason to help the band. I can go hustle, do weddings. My wife plays harp. It's like we can go do harp and classical guitar and clean up in 3 hours and then put that money back into our band and try to
Absolutely.
finance it that way too. So,
And yes, that is totally a thing, corporate gigs and stuff like that. And honestly, I always so I I learned a long time ago from people like that those are the avenues that you need to look into. And another one I think people should look into is syncing rights.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
getting something, even if it's
totally.
a snippet of a song in a independent film, a
100%.
something on TV. If you can
Yeah,
get like something like that, that's where real money is made in music. Is
100%.
you know, it's like I almost shudder to think it's like, Metallica used to never license their stuff. Okay. And
Yeah,
now, like within the last like decade, a lot more things have cropped up where they've licensed music, like Stranger Things, and they did for the
yeah, yeah.
Willows. They did for the Willow series, with like Disney and shit. But like, I could only imagine what the front end cost of that was. What they got like
Yeah.
going into it, not to mention what they get in the back
It-
end of it,
oh yeah. Yeah.
from streaming rights, from royalties for that. Because I had a song one time get fucking used in a UK television publication, and I logged into my fucking royalty app at the time, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
There's money. It's
And
more than 12 cents.
yeah, it was like, yeah. I
Nice,
mean, it was a
nice,
lot more than 12 cents. It was like
nice.
38 cents
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But no, and was just like completely blown away with it. And
Yeah.
that's when
Oh,
I
yeah, definitely.
realized I was just like, you know what? That's where real money's made. It's
Well,
like
that's why you
fucking
got to own your own music. You got to own your masters. You got to own your music,
yeah.
right?
And
You sign your.
thankfully, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I was just gonna say you sign. Sometimes you don't realize that, but you sign your music away, then it's somebody else is making that money off those synced rights and stuff because
Yeah.
they're doing that. So that's always one of those benefits of weighing the benefits of going with a label versus owning your own rights and being able to, sign up for that stuff and even reap some of those benefits.
Well, and the amazing thing over the last few years, especially over the last decade in particular, a lot of that has changed.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
lot of that has changed because there's been legislation passed in a lot of places, that like multimedia conglomerates, and you being in Canada, Unidisc
yeah,
is one of your companies up there, that Anvil, for example, do not have the rights to the first three albums.
yeah,
Unidisc owns them
yeah,
in perpetuity because they were young. They signed that stuff
yeah,
away. But now everything's on like a 3-5-7 deal where it's like
yeah,
3 years, 5 years at 3 years at such and such
yeah,
percentage, 5 years, so on and so forth, 7 years, whatever. And but at that point in time of certain, the rights revert back to the original
yeah.
owner, which is totally rad. And that's really the thing that I think a lot of people really need to pay attention to, really.
Oh yeah. Well, it was always
uh,
Frank Zappa and Steve Vai that I listened to that are always encourage you to keep control of your own music and stuff like that. And it's better to own the whole pie and eat that whole pie than a tiny little morsel of a giant pie,
sure.
in that sense. And Yeah. I always looked up
For
to those guys. They did pretty well for themselves.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
and honestly, I think with somebody like Steve Vai, uh, he really had a lot to go on because of Frank.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Because Frank was totally the ultimate in that day and age,
Oh
the
yeah. Yeah.
ultimate DIY guy. Like
Definitely.
he did his thing his way.
Yeah.
He did, like you take like people who signed to labels like Black Sabbath who got fucked out of their rights for fucking so many years, you know. And
Yeah.
yeah, so it's just like a whole fucking ordeal. Um you seem like a pretty down to earth dude. I see, like the awesome tapestry in the back room or the back behind in the background behind you. The skull on top of the record shelf there. It's totally
Yes.
rad stuff. The candelabra. You seem like pretty spiritual, pretty awesome, down to earth dude. How does one find a purpose in life?
How does one find a purpose in life? Well, by just waking up and trying to be better than you were yesterday. Just doing a little bit better every single day. You do a little bit better than yesterday, the purpose will come forward and show itself if one is looking for it. I always find the universe puts you where you need to be. And if you're not where you need to be, there's you need to change something, right? Something you're not doing something in accordance in that sense. So that's kind of my point of view on that take. That stuff.
Oh
I've
yeah,
had some
man.
stressful times and stuff in my life, so I do like to live a pretty chill, easy going life these days. I keep it pretty breezy, pretty breezy.
Dude. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely,
Same.
definitely,
Same.
definitely.
Like
Yeah,
I always say, like no time like the present, and don't just talk about it, be about it. That's as pretty much
exactly. Yeah.
down to earth as you can get.
Enjoy the now, man. Like I said, I love my job. I work 7 days a week. I make my own hours, but like I said, I work on people, help them fixing them. So like, and that's just like to me, fixing people is like getting up on stage and playing music. It's fucking
Sure.
awesome. So like, I'm in the moment. I'm enjoying it when I'm doing it, just like I'm on stage. I'm not thinking about anything else other than what I'm doing. So it's just like, and then I get to come home. It's like I don't have to be at work for 8 hours. Like I do a couple hours of work, and it's like I have a 4 minute drive home, and then I got my guitar amplifiers I can flick on. I can go smash my drum set around. I got the forest outside. I go on hike. I wake up at like 5 a.m. now and go on hikes every day. I just like I'm living, I call it the retired lifestyle or whatever, and
Dude,
just
that's
not
amazing.
worrying about anything. Just like, but it's hard. It's easier when you're not in the city, right? I mean, I lived in the city and I was way more stressed out and high strung living in the city, working a night shift job and stuff. You know what I mean? So like I understand that struggle and plight and how tough that can be and stuff. And I worked really hard to try to shift some things to get out of that. And you know,
Well, too, that's part of growing up the way you did, like working in the night shift job and stuff like that. And now you're waking up early
yeah,
and going on hikes and doing this awesome, like, this physical well-being for yourself, for
yeah,
your physicality and your mental state. And what's so cool about it too is just like, you know, to get away from it, from like that other thing,
oh
because
yeah,
I'm sure that's also in the same time period you were doing tours. And so that's an even extra added stress. So,
oh
like
yeah,
when you're working a night shift job and then you're also going on tour and then
oh
you're
yeah,
having to leave a job, and that's a stressful
oh
thing.
yeah.
It's like, is this going to work? And now it's just like
Set up, yeah. The
even
20s.
keel.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's tough. Like I said, I know how it is for people with working the 9 to 5 jobs in the city and trying to get away. And I was a little blessed in the sense I only actually met my dad at 26 years old, and I had a really bad back growing up and was in a back brace, and they wanted to give me spinal surgery. My dad fixed me up with his hands and then showed me I had a talent for fixing people just like I do for writing and playing music. So
Wow.
all of a sudden, my life completely changed from doing drugs, partying, playing music, staying up all night to fixing people, connecting with family. I grew up a single child with a young single mom, so I can be a pretty reclusive person at times. So like I had a real big shift in my mid late 20s, and I left the Lower Mainland and went to Vancouver Island and started doing that work. But I still was going then. I was still now trying to start to work for myself. I was going away on tour, had dogs and stuff, and trying to balance that all out. And then it can be tough sometimes. I know it can be really tough. And then, so even now, so I'm literally working for the music. That's why I go to work. And I'm blessed that my wife lets me do this, because if it wasn't for her, we should be paying our mortgage off and other things, not pressing vinyl and making CDs and paying for flights and recording and all that stuff. It's a lot of work running an international band and stuff. But I love a hot frying pan. Toss me in that hot frying pan. So I'm ready to be back in the thick of it after, I took 5 years off of playing music and stuff. I really even stopped kind of playing and composing and writing for a little while. I got really sick and stuff, and and still had another shift in my early 30s. And then so it's just like really nice to get back into it on such a different level than I was before, and with the different mindset and different goals, and just everything's been clicking and just meeting all the right people, and so I'm just going for it, and I'm just happy to share this album with everybody. And I just want to rock, ready to turn my amplifiers on 10, get on stage and kick some rock and roll ass, like let's get back to it. Let's get back to it.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing stuff. So I have one more question, but as always, links, they're listed below. Give likes, shares, follows, go buy merch, go see shows, go do the things and all the stuff, because that is where it is at. Support in any and every way you can. Things are hard for everybody right now. Help, just help out where you can, man. Do what you got to do. Don't, I'm not begrudging anybody for taking care of themselves, but seriously, like if you got the extra time, go pick up albums, got extra money, go pick up albums, go pick up merch, go pick up shirts, dude. Graham, do you have anything else you'd like to promote? And obviously the album, but anything else, or anybody you'd like to give shout outs to?
No, just my fantastic bandmates. Like, go check out Bobby Shock's stuff. Like, his stuff's awesome. And shout out to you for having us. And, shout out to all our fans and just everybody out there taking the chance to enjoy new music and looking for it, right? That's what it's all about, is new music and sharing emotions and good times. Looking forward to meeting you all in person. Because, I love giving people hugs. I love shaking hands, and I love playing rock and roll. So we'll see you in a town soon.
Hell yeah. Like that's rad as shit, dude. Like, seriously, I completely, again, things get hard for everybody, mentally, financially, whatever the case may be. But like, that's one of the things I'm completely looking forward to, is like booking a few more shows, booking some more out of town bands coming through on tours, going, like you said earlier, sometimes flights are not that expensive depending on the company that you're going through. I mean, I just had a round trip ticket to LA over a holiday weekend for $300.
Yeah, like we've been scoring stuff, especially because we do a lot of, if you don't take bags and stuff, we've been scoring. Sure. We've been scoring tickets, even like Denver to Vancouver for our singer, for like $250 sometimes. You know what I mean? For, it's not unreasonable in that sense. So,
yeah, and like
we do what we got to do.
Yeah, you do what you got to do, and you make it work the way you make it work, and that's all we ever do.
I mean, we'll be out seeing all you guys. We just want to see everybody in person. We love smile. We're bringing smiles back to heavy metal. We're not going to be so serious and stuff. We just want to have fun.
That's awesome that you say that. As we recently just lost Oz, that is one of the things that you can always go back to his shows, and he is always fucking smiling.
100%. Some of my best memories were seeing Ozzy Osbourne live, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. Like the confetti versus the water.
Yes.
Where, he'd fucking do the fucking confetti the first time, and you think he's going to do it again. And it's like a bucket of water that he throws on you. And it's like, what the fuck, dude?
Last show I was at that I saw him, he had that big foam hose, and I love it to death. But I'm glad that I was like 2 rows back from people who got hit. My buddy was just soaked in foam. I was like, rock and roll, man.
So when the one of the times that I saw him at Ozfest one year, it was Ozzy solo, and they always had like it was like the wording was like all broken up. Each letter was like it was like the sign was falling down.
Yeah.
Well, in that rig, he had a fucking thing, like a seat that came down with a fucking hose on it, and he would sit in it and fucking he would angle. It was like a gunner's turret
That's
is
cool.
what
I
it
can
was.
dig that.
And he would fucking angle around and fucking fire a fucking giant water hose at the fucking front of the crowd. And it's like, dude,
Nice.
it's like who thinks that shit up?
I love it. It's all about putting on a show, man. The live show. It's what it's all about. The live show.
Oh, sure.
Definitely.
Graham, my final question of the day is, if you had the opportunity to travel to space, would you do it?
Space. Would I do it? For what purpose? I guess. I don't know. I feel like I'm already maybe I don't want to sound too crazy. I feel like I'm already always in space.
Sure, sure.
My head's already
No,
always in
like
space.
actual
What do you
physical,
mean actually get into a physical thing?
Yeah.
I'm not climbing into a physical thing and shooting off the ground. I love this earth. I love this earth and I love being here. I'm not jeopardizing that.
Other than flying from New York to LA or from Vancouver to
Even
LA.
that's not my favorite thing to do, but for rock and roll, I will fly absolutely anywhere. So if there's a rock concert in space, I'll be the first one to be hopping up out into space to go rock in space.
Hell yeah. Dude, that would be amazing. I would love to do it okay, so like humidity. Just take that for example. The way humidity affects the instrument, like especially like have you ever seen like when you play guitar and you're just like, or you watch somebody play guitar and all of a sudden like the way the string like waves against, when you're playing it, it's like it gets that like that slow motion look. So that has to do with the bariatric pressure and the humidity and stuff like that, and the way it affects the wood and so on and so forth. I wonder what that looks like in a vacuum.
Well, I was going to say it would be so weird because there'd be no amplifiers because you're not moving air. So everybody would have to be wearing headphones and you would have to be playing like MIDI of some sort.
Well, see, and that's the other thing. What about like an acoustic in
that'd be yeah. Well, that's what I mean. You wouldn't hear it though, because there's no air to move, right? So there's nothing hitting your eardrum, right? Is that not how space is? An empty vacuum? There's no air. Is the sound wave
outside of the shuttle? Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm talking. I thought we were talking about free floating.
Yeah, like
space.
Actual free floating in space.
Yeah, I thought we were rocking out free floating in space.
Well, see that also like goes into the theory of how Star Wars and Star Trek are all bullshit because there's no explosions in space because there's no air to
Don't tell me Star Wars and Star Trek isn't real, man. Don't tell me that.
Come on, bro. Well, Star Wars, listen, Star Wars is real. It was just a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
I believe 100 exactly. You got it right. You got it. Love it.
Star Trek, though, I mean, that's something completely different.
100%.
Dude, thank you so fucking much. This has been
appreciate it.
Yeah, such a rad time. On our way out today, we're gonna play the music video. So tell everybody what the music video is. You said you had such a grand time filming it. It was fun. People were talking about the puffy frilly shirts and about like, man, come on. So
well, yeah, it was fun. Well, yeah, because we flew everybody out for the weekend. So that was our first weekend playing with Bobby Shock and JP and I and Seth all together. And that was filmed all on Seth's property at his house. He's got that river in his backyard. That inside space scene was done in his house. So we just did everything right there, kind of closed scene. So it was like band camp weekend, but like the best band camp weekend ever. We just all hung out. We literally had like the best 3 days of our life. And we all just have awesome partners who are all there enjoying and part of it with us. So it was just low stress, just good times, and it ended up being great. And it was another one of those things like with the CD. I waited till I got my music. I didn't even get to see the music video till we posted it the night before, the other day. I love waiting and not asking to see how stuff's going, and just waiting till like the editor's done everything, and then like, okay, unless something's blaringly wrong, go back. I like giving people their own creative control as well on stuff. So yeah, I'm excited and hope you guys all enjoy it.
Hell yeah. And what is the name of it?
A Waking Dream.
Boom. Metal every day. Love you all. Dude, thank you so
Cheers,
much.
brother. Rock hard, ride free.
Right.
Ever so free river between the green and the sea, binding words with a whisper. Said I had the right. You're Syrinx, physical, more real than this life. My silence screams in pain and pleasure, shining stars in lights of bright. Ever so between the green and the sea, binding attention with a whisper.
Hey metalheads, you like tattoos? Of course you do. If you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, come on over the bridge to Clarksville, Indiana, and get you some ink done at Ageless Art. If ink isn't your thing, they have a piercing studio as well. Visit agelessartclarksville.com to see some frequently asked questions, meet the staff. The shop is open Monday through Thursday, 12 to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 12 to 10 p.m., and Sundays, 12 to 6 p.m., all appointment-only spots. You can set up your appointments by phone at 812-283-1793 or email agelessarttatoosandpiercing@gmail.com and someone will get you set up for your first or your next tattoo or piercing.
Hey metalheads, after going to a rager, what's your ultimate go-to? Mine is totally pizza. So when Overload is playing or I'm promoting the Metal Forge live showcases or the big goddamn metal show, I go to Pizza Donisi. Pizza Donisi is gourmet artisan pizza from right here in Louisville, Kentucky. It features things like the pizza of the month, the sandwiches, and also vegetarian and vegan options, which is so totally fucking cool for all of it's awesome pizza. You definitely want to go. Hey, and also from time to time they do cannolis. Oh, so fucking good. You know what they said, man? Leave the gun, take the cannoli. Yeah, just like that in Godfather. They're located right next to the Mag Bar at 1396 South 2nd Street. So either stop in or call in at 502-213-0488. They're open till midnight. The witching hour.
Heineken? Fuck that shit! Pabst Blue Ribbon!
Hey metalheads, you all hear me talk about Mag Bar all the time. It is the home to the Metal Forge live showcases and is an integral stop in the ultimate underground metal tour schedule. They obviously feature live music, but the Mag Bar also has daily specials like Pint and Slice Night on Tuesdays with Pizza Donisi. But they also do Bring Your Own Vinyl on Thursdays with DJ Kent Jackson, and Finer Things Sundays. Located right next to Pizza Donisi at 1398 South 2nd Street, open 3 p.m. to 4 a.m. 7 days a week. Get your asses out to the Mag Bar. Rock out. For 45 years and keeping Louisville weird, Electric Ladyland has been there for all your eccentricities. While they do offer the best smoking supplies out on the market today, there's a whole lot more to check out. From ashtrays and blacklight posters, to records, incense and burners, and items to stock your metaphysical supply. They are open from 10 to 10, 7 days a week. Located at 2325 Bardstown Road in Louisville, Kentucky, and at electricladyland420.com. Roll out. In 2017, one man's vision and passion for all things metal started out as a record store in his house. Years later, the fight against a mainstream empire continues as Shade Beast. An independent metal collective and online store based in Athens, Georgia, is the world's premier heavy metal brand for music heads that value authenticity over the mainstream acceptance. Featuring original t-shirts from some of the best underground artists, as well as stickers, posters from the Shade Beast Presents concert series.
Unique, one-of-a-kind collectibles and small curated selection of vinyl and cassettes from the masters old and new. Visit shadebeast.com and enter promo code SithLord for free domestic shipping on your first order, whether you're a new customer or returning. And be sure to join the Shade Beast social groups on Facebook and the interwebs to keep up with the new release announcements and talk all things metal and Star Wars. You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and filth.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The Sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Since 2013, there has been a calling from the underground, from the graves of all those unholy, and they decided to make a zine to talk about all of this. Soul Grinder Zine! An independent metal zine to keep you informed on all things metal and horror from the underground. Available in both print and digital formats, they're bringing you the best interviews and reviews out there today. Not only do they do the zine, but they also do compilation CDs. Check them out at facebook.com/soulgrinder.zine and start your subscription now. Hey everybody, let me tell you about the new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Unchained Tapes. They're an independent Pennsylvania tape label. They focus on extreme metal and punk with a killer approach to the tape scene. Visit their web store at unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com now to get your fill of tapes. And for being a Metal Forge listener, enter the code METALFORGE10 at checkout to get a 10% discount on your total purchase. That's unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com.
What's up, Metal Forge fans? This is Alan Bishop, the alchemist of Indiana's Black Forest and head distiller at Spirits of French-Lick. Do you find yourself drawn to the unexplained, fascinated by the Fortean, or enchanted by the paranormal? If the things that go bump in the night resonate in your mind, then tune into my brand new podcast, If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything. Featuring first-hand accounts, collected stories, interviews, history, and speculation related to all things not of this world. Available now on Anchor, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and more. Sit back, relax, and remember, if you have ghosts, you have everything.
Hey, let me tell you guys about Mercenary Press. They're an independent London label and distributor of all things metal. Mercenary Press delivers the goods from their own independent zine. Trust me, you're going to want to get in on that. To distributing various bands from all over the world, including Cramp from Spain and Sadistic Force from Texas. Visit mercenarypress.bigcartel.com to find out what all they have in stock and what you can order. And for Metal Forge listeners, enter code METALFORGE10 to receive a discount on your total purchase at mercenarypress.bigcartel.com. Check it out now.
Hey Metalheads, it's with great pleasure I get to tell you guys about a new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Ageless Art, New Albany. After 20 years of owning and operating Ageless Art in Clarksville, Indiana, Phil Garrett had a vision for a new type of tattoo studio. Something that is clean and modern, sleek, refined, inviting. And he's done just that with Ageless Art in New Albany. You can find it at 2736 Charlestown Road, New Albany, Indiana, 47150. Business hours are Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sundays are 12 to 6. All sessions are appointment only, so give them a call and go get you some new ink. Or if it's your first time, go get your first one, baby.
In a broken wasteland, come to my fire and place your blood and steel upon